The BBC had a delay. They had time to edit, and a racial slur still aired at the BAFTAs. We need to talk about it. So, Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo were on stage presenting. From the crowd, someone shouted the N-word. That person is John Davidson. He has Tourette's. If you've seen the clip, you know. It wasn't subtle. It wasn't quiet. It landed. And here's my position. Okay? Tourette's is real. Tics can be involuntary, and that word can still cause harm. Saying that harm is real does not make Black people ableist. It makes us honest. There's a lot of misinformation right now out there around Tourette's, and I do want to acknowledge that, yes, Tourette's can include sudden sounds or words a person cannot control. And sometimes that includes taboo language. So I'm not here to judge Davidson's intent. I'm just here to talk about the impact, and impact does matter. For Black people, that word is not an oops. It's not strong language. It's the worst racial epitaph in the English language. It carries with it violence, history, humiliation. It is a spiritual dagger. When you hear it, your body reacts before your brain does. Now, let's talk about the part that actually troubles me. The BBC broadcast was delayed. And that means that someone had the ability to hit the edit. And we know edits were made because the words Free Palestine were cut from another acceptance speech in the BBC broadcast. So here's my question. How does a political statement get removed, but the N-word stays in? Make that make sense. I'm Canadian. I know many of you are watching from the US, so you may not be familiar with the CBC, but the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation. It's our public broadcaster. It has a mandate not to air content that harms the public. That's part of the job. So when I look at the situation, what it tells me is this. Someone decided that a political statement was more harmful to air than the most violent racial slur in the English language. Now that is a choice. And maybe I'm speculating here. Maybe they thought leaving it in would be a teachable moment about Tourette's. Maybe they thought the context would smooth it over. But if that was the calculation, it was a miscalculation, a misguided one at that, because what aired felt like degradation, not education. And Delroy Lindo, said afterwards to Variety magazine that no one from BAFTA nor the BBC contacted him or Michael B. Jordan to apologize. That's wild. And that's really disrespectful. And you know what? It suggests to me that the comfort of Black people on the stage was not the first priority. And that's a pattern that a lot of Black people, unfortunately, do recognize. And now online, some people are saying that Black people are being ableist for reacting. No. You can offer grace to a man with Tourette's and still be outraged that the word was aired. You can feel compassion and still demand accountability from a broadcaster. See, two things can be true. And let me just say this quickly, people know the weight of that word, man. I once watched a Korean rapper when I was living in Seoul. He spotted me in a crowd full of people, and he was spitting on the mic, and he literally said, never mind, when he saw me, instead of saying it. I also had, back in the day, I had a roommate from Vancouver, and if you looked in the dictionary for your standard white dude, white Canadian dude, this guy was the picture of it. I mean, he was literally wearing plaid when we were talking about this at the time. We were talking about the lyrics to one of the songs from Drake's Take Care album, Marvin's Room, where, if you know that song, the N-word's peppered throughout it. And when I asked him, what do you do when that word comes up? He just very calmly said, I skip it. So let's not pretend people are confused here. People know. When I was a kid, I heard sticks and stones may break my bones, but names will never hurt me. That's the biggest lie we tell children. Names hurt. And I feel for Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo because this has now become a moment. Clip, a soundbite, a meme, something they're going to have to likely relive again and again. And they didn't ask for that, So what do you think? What should the BBC have done? Should they have edited it out immediately? And what does real accountability look like here?